All right, so here we have the 3-2-1 protocol that you guys have learned. Let's review this again because there's going to be some differences. We covered it in the beginning and we covered the ideal situation, meaning that if you're dealing with fatigue, if you're dealing with metabolic damage, if you're dealing with hypothyroid or adrenal issues, sometimes there can be food-related issues that lead to allergies that are unknowingly stalling weight loss or unknowingly causing fatigue, especially if you've been diagnosed with things like Hashimoto's thyroiditis. However, many of you will not be in that situation. And so there are some things that we want to cover with ELEL to make this a little bit easier for you. So this 3-2-1 protocol, as you know, it's 3 meals per day. And that allows you to have long periods of time between food to aid your immune system, your endocrine system, your nervous system for recovery and repair. Remember the idea of a stress detox, and remember that food, excess food or too little food, and excess exercise or too little exercise can both be stresses. So we're seeking balance. This long period of time between meals can indeed cause balance to be restored to the system. Now we're going to cover here in a minute in some other videos how you can deal with hunger and cravings that might pop up. But that's the first thing, 3 meals per day. Now 2 of those meals are going to be protein based. Now I know we have said they should be 2 protein shakes, but ideally protein shakes are used primarily because they are easy to do. They are convenient, they're fast. They're just like putting together a cereal. Happens really quickly, you can blend up a protein shake. But the truth of the matter is, if you are someone that says, hey Jade, I would like to cook, I would like to have whole foods, that actually is just as ideal, maybe more so, especially if you don't have a compromised immune system. And so you certainly could do salads or stews and soups and things like that, which we'll talk about in a minute. But for these protein shakes, we're talking about 20 grams, 30 grams, 40 grams, 50 grams at the most. Add fiber if you like. Try not to, in the beginning, add a whole lot of fat and fruits. And you know you have a good protein shake if the protein plus the fiber exceeds the carbs plus the fat. So you can look at the label for that. I typically like to use water, unsweet almond milk, and or unsweet coconut milk. But if you're someone who is not dealing with food sensitivities, regular milk would be just fine, like a skim milk. The other thing is, we talked before about easy to digest hypoallergenic proteins. Again, this section, this module is all about making this fit you. I gave you the ideal scenario before, especially if you're dealing with immune issues, but whey protein, many, in fact, most people can use just fine. And easy to digest whey proteins will include enzymes to help you digest the protein. So there are many different proteins like that. Metabolic Effect has its own protein that is a whey protein powder that you will, that has a enzyme blend that helps you digest it. So that would be appropriate here. And then you're going to do 1 regular meal per day, which should basically be 3 parts vegetable, 2 part lean protein, 1 part starch, and preferably at the end of the day because starch will help you sleep. And we'll talk about this again in some future videos in this module. Now, let's think about this for a minute because you might be saying, Jade, I would rather take the time because I have the time, or I prefer to have meals for those 2 protein-based meals instead of shakes. So you have other options. You, of course, have the protein shake, which can travel anywhere with you and is easy to whip up in the morning. But you also can do a salad. Now, a lot of people say, oh my God, salads are boring. But really, I want to redefine salad for you because what I mean by salad is what we call a convenience salad. And a convenience salad is anything that mixes vegetables with meat. So it doesn't have to be, salad greens and balsamic vinaigrette dressing and chicken breast and things like that. It could be that you go to a Mexican restaurant or something like that and get a fajita with extra fajita vegetables, forego the tortilla and the rice and the beans, and voila, you have a convenient salad. You could go to a place that serves sandwiches and order the sandwich with extra vegetables, extra lettuce, extra pickles, extra tomato, extra onion, and then strip off the bun, and voila, you have a salad. You could go to a Japanese or Chinese restaurant and get vegetable stir fry and forego the rice and add some chicken, and again, you have a salad. And so what's really interesting about this slight change of definition of what a salad is means you can actually have a salad anywhere. You can always order a salad. It's essentially just a protein source and a vegetable source. And likewise, stews and soups serve as a great way to get this same concept down. Especially in the wintertime, you can do soups and stews, and crock pots are wonderful for that. The idea though is you're going to be leaving out the potatoes and leaving out the starch and just focus on the vegetables. So in this 3-2-1 plan, remember this is all about adjusting to your metabolism, your psychology, and your personal preferences. Not everyone's metabolism is going to be negatively impacted by having whey protein. In fact, most people won't. So you don't have to worry about having a hypoallergenic protein unless you have Hashimoto's or a known food sensitivity, which many people can, but most people don't. And in that case, you can use whey protein. We do recommend you get one that has a good enzyme blend to help you digest it. And we do recommend that you get one that has more protein than carbohydrates. And you can also use the convenience salad concept as well as the slow cooker concept to increase the personal preference variable here. You really want to adapt this to your lifestyle. The other thing about the convenience salads and the crock pot slow cooker recipes is you can make these in bulk and have them ready for yourself anywhere you are. You can bring them with Tupperwares. You can have them in the house ready to go. The final thing I'll say about this is breakfast, right? Breakfast should be thought of not as breakfast foods, but as another meal. But for those of you who have to have breakfasts that are breakfast-like, try vegetable frittatas, which are really nice, basically eggs and vegetables and maybe some protein in there as well, or vegetable scrambles. Those work really well. Now here's the 3-2-1 dinner plate. You've seen this before. Your last meal of the day should essentially be half vegetables, lean protein. Remember, we talk about lean protein just because we want you to understand how fat impacts your body versus protein versus starch. So if you're someone who already knows you need a little bit more protein, a little bit more fat rather, then add the fat in. Remember, again, we give you the structure and it's up to you to basically take your own knowledge of how your metabolism functions and tweak this as needed. So if lean protein is not going to do it for you, you can certainly add some fat here as well. However, this starch component certainly becomes important for you as you go forward, especially from the standpoint of starch increases serotonin in the brain. Too low carbohydrate can cause issues with thyroid and adrenals and stress out the body further. So you want to find enough carbohydrates to where you have good energy moving forward. One of the biggest mistakes people make is cutting carbohydrates down too low or eating too many of them. So you want to find the carbohydrate tipping point. That's what we're going to talk about in later videos as well.